Hello, and welcome to probably the most anticipated episode of all time of I'm Talking to Jew. It's episode 12, and this week we're talking about kosher.
Yeah, we finally made it all the way here.
Huge.
We built it up as well. So if you haven't listened to our first episodes when we speak about the Torah and the oral law and the transition from the written Bible to modern Judaism, go back, listen to our first 11 episodes.
Yeah,
and then come back and listen to this.
Too many people jumping in at episode 11.
Because people are getting really excited. Oh, what's kosher? What is kosher? What isn't kosher?
Yeah.
We'll get to that, but go listen to the first few episodes.
Huge.
Yeah. We have something else. I have a confession to make.
Oh, this is heartbreaking, to be honest.
So this is actually not the first time we've recorded this episode about kosher.
Nah.
What happened was a few days ago, Cal and I came in to our super high-tech recording studio. We had what was undoubtedly the funniest, most pun-filled, hilarious, best sort of podcast we'd have ever done, the best episode. And then my computer crashed and it got deleted. You
made a boo-boo.
Yeah.
You made a juju boo-boo.
Now, looking back, one of three things could have happened, all right? Cal, you tell me what you think. A, it could have been a complete accident.
Yeah, highly doubt it.
B, it could have been because that very morning that we were talking about the topic of kosher, you brought in from home to work pork-infused, shellfish-flavored, non-kosher brownies.
Yeah, a radical brownie.
Knowing that I wouldn't be able to eat it on the very day we were going to talk about kosher.
Yeah, no one else in the office wanted to eat them either.
Yeah, that's true.
I changed the brownie game.
Yeah, but to get you back, I decided I was going to bring you all the way. I was going to schlep you all the way to the studio.
It was a schlep.
Which is actually my spare bedroom. And then I was going to delete all the audio after 40 minutes of recording. Just to show you.
I know. What a nightmare.
So that's option 2. Option 3 is that spending more waking hours with you during the work week than I spend with my beloved wife is just not enough time. So I decided I needed to delete my audio just so I can spend more time with you.
Yeah, option 3, of course.
You think option 3?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not going to reveal which of those options is correct. Nonetheless, we're back. We pulled up our socks. I had a big cry, a big tantrum. I had a meltdown. I saw my therapist.
Oh.
And now we're back to re-record.
I can't even believe it. It's deja vu.
How long have you been sitting on that for?
That was actually pretty off the top of the dome.
Really?
Not going to lie. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
I can't believe it.
Do you remember anything about when we spoke about kosher?
No.
All right. So give me your impressions of what is and isn't kosher. What is kosher?
I just think it's to do with food.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I know.
Okay.
I know, no pork.
Yep.
Obviously, no shellfish.
Yep.
We just talked about that.
So those are the obvious ones.
That's about it, really.
Yeah. Okay, well, just to kick off, the word kosher doesn't just refer to food. It can refer to any, religious object, or pretty much anything, because the word kosher just means suitable or appropriate.
Okay.
So,
all
for example, a couple of weeks ago we spoke about, it's more than a couple of weeks ago now, but we spoke about lighting the Chanukiah, which is the 8 branched candelabra for
we had the
festival of Hanukkah.
Octopus idea.
So you can have kosher Chanukiot, kosher menorahs, and non-kosher ones.
Very cool.
Not that you're going to eat them.
What makes a Chanukiah kosher or non-kosher?
You don't have the right number of little candles. If they're all different levels, they're not all straight.
That's a rookie mistake anyway.
Yeah, but that would make it non-kosher. So we use kosher mostly to refer to food, but you can also have a non-kosher Torah scroll. If it's not written correctly, or if there's a letter missing, or if it's ripped, or something like that.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
Don't people use it in sort of just everyday context? Like, oh, that's not kosher.
I know, you tell me. I don't use it like that.
I'm sure I've heard non-Jews.
Is it just a thing to be like, that's not very Jewish? That's not very holy of you?
No, I don't think it's holy. I think it's more just oh, that's not okay.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah, it's what he did, that wasn't kosher. I'm
sure
I've heard people use it.
Do you do it?
Not really, because I know what it means.
Okay. Well, I don't think outside of the Jewish community anyone uses it. I don't.
Interesting. I'm sure.
I speak for all non-Jews.
I'm sure I've heard it. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I speak for all Jews.
Yeah, of course. That's how this works.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't know. But I'm definitely going to do that now.
I think you should. Well, you struggle with the concept of kosher, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you're a big foodie.
It's the food.
Yeah.
And it's limiting the possibilities. The culinary possibilities are limited.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing you have to understand is that the giving of the kosher laws and the giving of the Torah, it wasn't meant to just be restrictions and prohibitive, right? It was just to say, when you're eating, like when you're doing everything else, you have to do it in a holy, godly way. And so there are ways of doing it. The same way, like, you might dress well for a certain event or for work or something, because that's appropriate. For us, the way we conduct ourselves when we eat has to be reflective of our, I guess, religious responsibility. It's only in today's world, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, with the complicated production process, that it sort of becomes just a list of things you can't.
Yeah. A lot of cross-contamination, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's rough. You know when you deleted our first recording of the kosher episode?
Yep.
That was very not kosher of you.
It's true. It wasn't kosher. No.
If I'd known at the time,
yeah,
I would have said that's not very kosher.
You're right. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we jump into kosher things?
Yeah.
And we're talking about food kosher.
I want to know, just tell me everything. What
All right.
makes something kosher?
There
What
are
is
3
kosher?
main laws that we have to get into. Okay? Very briefly, they're the animals that are kosher, how to slaughter the animals that are kosher,
Yep.
and not eating meat and milk together.
It's crazy.
I know. You really struggle with the meat and milk thing.
Yeah, well, I love a good, like, meatball smoothie, you know? Like, who doesn't?
No, but in all seriousness, like, what sort of things?
You mean like meat and dairy? Like just...
No meat and dairy.
Yeah.
None.
Well, that's a nightmare already.
Why?
Because meat and cheese is the best thing that's ever been... It's the best.
Like cheeseburgers.
Yeah. That's the
I have had a
greatest...
cheeseburger, but it wasn't real cheese. It
Yeah,
was
well, that's a lie.
What do you mean?
You ate a lie in between 2 pieces of bread.
I was in London and it cost me a lot of pounds, so
Yeah.
I hope it wasn't a lie.
And you got ripped off by a filthy, filthy redcoat.
Oh my god!
I've got beef with the redcoats too.
Do you? Beef.
Yeah.
That's a good pun for the
I've got
first
beef
time.
because they didn't give you real beef.
Well, no, the beef was real. The
Oh,
cheese wasn't
fake
real.
cheese? That's
Yeah.
almost even worse.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
How many things do you put cheese and
Everything.
meat together? Really?
Yep. I'll never eat anything that's not meat and cheese. Exclusively.
Is that a promise? Is that your big call for today?
Yeah. No, not everything, but quite a bit. Like a delicious meaty pasta.
Yeah.
You can't put Parmesan cheese on it. That's a nightmare to me. Throw that pasta in the trash. It's not worth eating.
Well, I think some things, some dairy items that are maybe made with like not real cheese. So, for example, we make cheesecake sometimes for
Yeah, delish.
the festival of Shavuot.
That's my favourite festival.
Yeah, and sometimes the cheesecake we make, if we're having like a meat meal, it won't be like dairy cheese. It'll be, I guess, like fake cheese.
Yeah.
And you can't tell the difference. I don't think you'd be able to tell the difference if it's made well.
It's a betrayal. It's a lie. We'll do a blind taste test one day.
All right. Maybe we will.
I'm not confident that I'll guess it.
Yeah.
I think I'll fail.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's
All right.
amazing. There's nothing better in this life than just a delicious hunk of meat.
Nothing
with melted
better.
cheese all over it.
Even like obeying the omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, all-powerful, almighty King of Kings, God in the heaven.
Okay, second place.
Second place. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You love meat and milk so much, all right?
Yeah. Big milkshake fan.
Would you voluntarily accept upon yourself eternal damnation in the pits of hell for a cheeseburger?
Could I eat cheeseburgers in hell?
Yes.
No, yes, 100%.
Would you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, lucky for you, Judaism doesn't really believe in that sort of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's the Jewish hell? Oh, that's too deep to go
That
into,
is
isn't it?
way too
Yeah.
deep. And we're going to at least have to record 3 versions of that episode, and I'll have to delete it every single time just to get
Yeah.
an understanding of hell.
I don't know. That's a nightmare. Why is it? To explain the meat and cheese thing to me.
Okay. We'll start with the third of the rules. We'll just start at the end because that makes sense.
Whatever. We're fun, cool guys. Do
So
whatever we want.
basically, the commandment in the Torah is that you're not allowed to cook a goat. I think it's a kid in its mother's milk, right? Which I
wouldn't
think we've
recommend
spoken
that.
about that.
Yeah, I would definitely wouldn't recommend cooking people in their mother's milk.
Not a human kid, like a goat kid.
Any of them. It's a horrible thing
Yeah,
to do.
it is a horrible thing. But from that sentence, the rabbis understand and learn out and have a tradition that what it refers to is cooking any dairy in any meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like with a cheeseburger, you're not really cooking the dairy in the meat or the meat in the dairy.
Good question. And then from there, in order to make sure that there's no cross-contamination between dairy products and meat products, the rabbis over time enacted various laws, and according to Orthodox Judaism, this was always the intent of the Torah,
Okay.
to keep it even more separate. So, for example, not only do we not cook meat and milk together, we don't consume meat and milk together, we don't eat it at the same table in case it gets mixed up. And more than that, after you eat meat, you have to wait a certain amount of time before you eat milk.
I can't believe it.
Why?
I can't believe you haven't found a little Jewish loophole around this.
Yeah,
like I would think,
it's a
say
tough
you've
one.
got a piece of meat in your hand.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what meat it is.
Yeah.
And a big old piece of cheese in the other hand. One bite of the meat, swallow that. Bite of the cheese, swallow that. That should be fair game.
No good.
Nightmare.
No, you can't do that.
No loopholes at all.
Well, I mean, there different communities of Jews keep different hours. So some people keep an hour in between meat and milk, some 3 hours, some 6 hours.
Okay.
And that's really based on the time period between the 3 meals of the day. So if you hold that you have to wait between meals, so that's like 6 hours, right?
Okay.
Some people have traditions to hold a little bit less.
What if I just said I have a tradition where I eat 150 meals a day? And the time between those meals.
I don't think that counts. I think it's like the general standard.
Well, who are they to say that my traditions aren't valid?
Look.
Yeah, I'm changing the game.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell. Well, lucky for you, you're not Jewish, so you have absolutely no obligation to keep kosher.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Thank Hashem for that.
I will thank Hashem. I'll pass it on.
I just feel like these rabbis needed to get together and have a big old meat and cheese party. And they would have been cool.
I don't
like
think
a
they ever
pepperoni
did.
pizza.
No pepperoni pizza.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
There's
a world I
another-
don't want to live in.
And this is sort of, I'm sliding in the segment of vocabulary because we're not going to actually do it later because
Yep.
it's so content heavy. There's something called parav.
Parav.
It means like neutral. It's something that's not dairy and that's not meat.
That's
so
lots
that's like
of stuff.
vegetables, fruit, pasta, eggs, fish, all of those things we consider parav because they're neither of those things. And you can cook them with either.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the combination of the things is the best.
Yeah, I get it. We're going to have to move past
Okay.
that though.
Well, I've got beef with it.
You can take it up with God.
I will.
Okay.
I'm going to convert just so I can talk to him.
You can talk to him as a non-Jew. Nothing
Nah, he
wrong with
wouldn't
that.
listen.
Oh my
He doesn't
God.
care about me.
I'm sure there are billions and billions of religious non-Jews in their respective religions who are going to take issue with that.
Sure. So I don't care.
I can
I don't.
tell.
I don't have
can
issue
tell.
with the other people's gods.
People can't see you, but your arms are crossed.
Yeah,
Your face is
I'm
dead
sweaty.
set.
No, I don't have issue. I have issue with Hashem,
I
the
see.
God, the man,
Okay.
and I need to talk to him about it.
Well, just wait, because the separation between meat and milk actually gets even more crazy.
Okay, well, give me number 2. We're going backwards.
Okay, no, we're not
3 to
doing number
2.
2. We're still on meat and milk.
Oh boy.
Because the separation of meat and milk is so important, we also apply the same thing to all of the utensils that we use and the machinery and stuff.
Yeah.
So, for example, in my kitchen, if I took you there, I have separate utensils, separate
Cheese
cutlery.
knife, meat knife,
Yep, for all those things.
milk, glass.
Yep, everything.
Meat glass.
Glass a little bit less unless you're putting like a hot milk substance in it. So I have like coffee mugs,
Yeah.
but then I have my normal glass for just water and drinks that are not dairy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you wouldn't be putting too much meat in a glass anyway.
No, not really. Except for your weird meat smoothies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just protein. I'm bulking.
yeah,
so.
yeah, I can tell. Well, actually, I can't tell.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so, and that's one of the big issues with, I guess, eating out a lot. But I don't know what the machinery in a factory
Yeah,
that
exactly.
produces certain food or a restaurant, what they're using in the same machinery. Because in the days when these rules were sort of enacted, most of their tools were either earthenware or wood or made out of substances that really absorbed the taste of whatever food
Yeah.
they were used in.
Stainless steel, not so much.
Stainless steel, not so much. There's still an argument to be made, but that's why there is...
That explains your plastic wrap.
Yeah, my plastic wrap. Whenever we have a company lunch or something, I get everything brought to me covered in foil for warming or covered in plastic that I have to unwrap. It's the most embarrassing.
Well, I always thought you just did that because you wanted people to think you're better than them.
Oh, I do want that as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. It's just like a fun little positive externality from it.
Yeah.
When I'm on a plane and I get brought my kosher food, it is a disaster.
Yeah,
because everyone else gets given their food and they just eat it like a normal mensch. And
Yep.
I have to sit there and start unwrapping things and opening things, and I'm in this tiny little cramped plane.
Yeah.
And then I just have mounds of plastic and wrapping,
Yeah.
and nothing's warmed properly because it's all covered in 3 levels of foil. It's disastrous.
Yeah, and you're just surrounded by people just like throwing meat and cheese into each other's mouth, just having a party.
I don't know what planes you go on. Yeah. All right. So that's the rule number 1.
Yeah.
Rule
Well, it
number
was 3
2.
actually, wasn't it?
It was actually. It's the
Let's go 3 to 1
very
to 2.
confusing. I think we'll have to.
Yeah.
The animals. There are some animals that are kosher and some that are not. And that's
Pigs.
essentially, if you take away the separation of milk and meat, animals is really the only thing that's not kosher, quote unquote,
Yeah.
right? Because everything else, every other natural produce, fruit, veggies, all that sort of thing is kosher.
Yep, I'm on board with that.
Okay, so let's break it down, the different types of animals. So when it comes to cattle, like cows and goats, are goats and sheep considered cattle? I suppose so.
I don't really know what makes something cattle.
Me neither.
If
All
you
right, so we're
farm
talking about
it,
like
is it
big
then cattle?
animals. We're talking about like meat.
Yeah.
Yeah? The Torah says it has to have 2 conditions, right? It has to fulfill 2 conditions to be kosher. It needs to chew its cud. So that sort of, I don't really know the intricacies biologically, but I think it means it has like double stomachs.
It sounds disgusting.
It is disgusting. You know when you see like a cow just sitting and it's just chewing, but it's not actually eating anything out of the grass, it's just sitting and chewing and chewing? I think that's when the food that it's already digested in its first stomach comes back up, it like re-chews it,
And
and
that
then
means
it
you
goes
can eat
into
it
its second stomach.
if it does that disgusting.
Yes, if it does that disgusting thing, and if it has split hooves.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the 2 conditions.
What
That's
was
how
so
you know.
appetizing about those 2 things that they were like, yep, they're good to eat.
By
They're good
them
to
you
go.
mean Hashem, like you mean God?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if. I mean, look, there are a lot of rabbis who try to, ascribe certain lessons or health lessons from what is kosher and what isn't kosher. I'm not overly convinced by it. I think this is just the thing that you have to believe. You have to buy into the Torah, and then you have to believe that God wanted us to eat these certain domesticated animals for whatever reason, and these are the signs he gave us to tell which ones are kosher.
Just the grossest things possible. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, look, that's why the pig is such an iconically not kosher animal.
Yeah.
Because it has split hooves, so it looks kosher.
Yeah.
But it doesn't chew its cud, so it's not kosher.
It's a gentleman when it eats, so you can't eat it. That's how I'm figuring it out. It doesn't chew with its mouth open and chew its disgusting.
I never said it's disgusting. It chews with the mouth open.
No, like it eats its pre-digested food.
Yeah, take it up with God, mate.
It's gross. Well, yeah, I've got beef.
I can tell you've got beef.
What's the deal with the hooves?
The split hooves?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. I think it's just a sign. I don't think that God said these are the animals that you can eat, and whether by coincidence or God designed it that way, they all have these 2 conditions so that we can know what to eat.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think it's like, split hooves means that it's a pure animal. I think it's just the way God has given the rules, if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying.
You don't sound super convinced.
It just seems a bit silly.
Well, it's silly out of context, but that's why we try to build up to this podcast.
Yeah.
You can't dive right into kosher. So you have to consider, let's say for the purposes of the discussion, you believe in God. All right. So I know I've already sort of lost you there, but just assume there's a God. Okay. And assume that God wants humankind, or at least the Jewish people, to be following the Torah.
Yeah.
And in the Torah, he gives us certain ways of eating and living and praying and conducting our lives.
It's a test, right?
Well, I don't know if it's a test. I think it's a manifestation of his will, right? And if you believe in God and you believe that he wants us to do more than just exist, there are certain foundational commandments that he gave us, which we believe is the Torah. And if you're asking, well, why this or why that, then I think it's understandable and there's a point in having that intellectual discussion, but not knowing the answer is different to there being no answer, if that makes sense.
Okay. He wants you to believe.
Sure. I don't know what he wants. I just believe that what he put in the Torah, or Orthodox Judaism believes that what he put in the Torah is the expression of his will.
Okay.
Okay?
On a scale of 1 to 10, let's say you get up to heaven, Jewish heaven.
Yep.
I assume it's up. I don't really know how it works. We haven't done a heaven and hell episode yet. How annoyed would you be if this was all like a big prank? God exists.
Yeah, but it's a prank.
But it was all a prank. And he's like, no, you could have ate pigs the whole time.
Are you asking me personally?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that irritated. Because I think I try to strike a balance where I am in tune with my inherent beliefs, but also try to be rational about how I apply them in my day-to-day life.
Okay.
But that's me personally. But look, that's a bit of a tangent. Don't get me started on that.
I'd be pretty up there, I think.
You'd be pretty
Well,
irritated.
on one hand, I'd be stoked that there's a God and I was
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. All these naysayers. That guy Cal, he was an idiot. Yeah.
Oh, I said that anyway, but yeah.
And then on the other hand, I'd be like, oh, you sneaky Hashem.
He's at it again.
Yeah.
That practical
But then I guess
jokester
you could probably have all the pork you want
in heaven.
when you got up there.
Yeah, look, there is an argument to say that what do I really lose?
Not that
If-
much.
I'm wrong, right? Like it's sort of temporary, physical, superficial enjoyment, as opposed to for me, this gives my life
Yeah.
meaning, and this is what I believe in, right?
If you're right,
Yeah,
it's sort of like short-term pain, but not really because it's not that bad.
it's not really that bad.
For like eternal gain,
Yeah,
if you're correct.
yeah.
And there's only one way to find that out.
Please don't kill me. I know. I
Next
promise
week
you,
on
I
I'm
didn't
Talking to
delete the
Jew.
podcast. I didn't delete it on purpose.
What
I
if
promise.
what if we get you into a period where like you die
Yeah.
for like, and I bring you back to life on the podcast?
Okay.
You just
Yeah.
die for like, your heart stops for like 5 seconds, and then I just CPR you
No, I'm
back to
okay
life.
with that. I've thought about it, and I can't think of any way that could go wrong.
No, of course
So
not.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Okay.
Kosher fish
Yep.
also have two signs. Kosher fish is one that has both fins and scales.
That's lots of them.
There is lots of them.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't ask me which ones because I don't know all of them,
Yeah.
but I know like the main ones: tuna, herring.
Yeah, sure. Barramundi, I guess.
I
Do they
don't
have
know.
fins? I don't even know.
I don't know. I'm not a big fisherman.
Yeah, me neither.
No. All right. So those are the rules with fish. Yeah.
Okay.
Same deal with animals. If they fulfill those two conditions, then they're good. You can eat them.
Okay.
Okay.
So no crabs, no lobster,
No crabs, no lobsters,
mussels,
no,
no oysters.
no,
Okay.
none of that. No shellfish. No.
You're not really missing out on oysters. They're gross.
Yeah, they don't appeal to
No,
me at
this
all.
is like a
It's like sea snot.
slimy mouthful of salt water and
Ugh.
snot. Yeah, they're
Ugh.
gross.
God, no. All right. Now, when it comes to birds, interestingly, there's no rule for birds. The Torah just lists the birds that are kosher
Can't control the birds, man.
and explicitly says that birds of prey are not kosher. So like falcons, eagles, hawks, things like that.
Okay.
I don't know how many people eat those sort of birds.
You're missing
anyway.
out on delicious bald eagle.
Oh, am I? Yeah. All
What
right.
makes a bird of prey? Because aren't all birds really birds of prey?
No, I think...
They have to kill something bigger than them. Does that make them a bird of prey?
Good question. Because all birds will eat like worms.
Well, like
and
magpies and crows and stuff hunt
Hmm.
worms.
Well, magpies and crows aren't kosher, but still, the question stands. I don't actually know.
Why can't you eat magpies?
Because they are the worst?
But you just said only birds of prey aren't kosher.
No. I said the Torah says that all birds of prey are not kosher, but it doesn't give it only gives a specific list of kosher birds. It doesn't say all birds.
Oh, so they
with,
just
like,
picked some.
Yeah, the Torah just lists birds.
And it says magpies.
No, it doesn't say magpies, so therefore it's not
Oh,
kosher.
it lists the one that are
Yeah,
kosher.
so what it does,
Okay.
it lists the ones that are kosher. It also mentions that no birds of prey are kosher, but it doesn't list all the birds that are not kosher, and it doesn't give signs either.
Where did this list originate?
The Torah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I
in
guess
the
if
Torah.
God
It's
wrote it,
explicitly in
then-
the Torah. Yeah.
He knows all the
Or
birds.
God gave it to Moses and Moses wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe Moses just lived in an area where he didn't have all the birds. But if God did it, fine, I'm cool with it.
Well, look, there's no mention of lots of things. No mention of kangaroos in the Torah.
Yeah, they're delicious too.
I don't know. They're not kosher.
Ah, they're actually not that delicious. It's pretty good. It's really lean, but
Is it?
yeah,
Alright.
but it's good for you.
It's like your national emblem.
Yeah, it's delicious. Every country should eat their national animal.
Yeah. All right. And the last thing, when it comes to insects, creepy crawly things, there are apparently 4 types of locust grasshopper that are kosher.
Yep.
Everything else is not kosher. No spiders, no scorpions, no weird cockroach, if you're into that. None of that,
Yeah.
except for these 4 types, which I don't know what they are.
I'm not too cut up about that.
Well, apparently it's going to be our next massive source of food.
Yeah. Well, we're running out.
Yeah, we're running out of food, overpopulation. I think locusts are the next thing. So I hope they're one of these 4 type, and I hope they're delicious.
Are they going to try to make like burgers out of them? And
I
like,
think they've already made like locust chips,
ooh,
like potato
I would try
chips.
that. I'd try it.
Uh,
I'm very adventurous when it comes
It
to
just
food.
can't look like a locust at all. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to cope.
I'd eat probably just about anything. The only thing I probably wouldn't eat
Yeah.
is like, do you know those hard-boiled eggs that are like partially developed?
Ooh.
Yeah, they have like a embryo that's
no,
been like,
no.
yeah,
That
and it's
is
got like mutated
is
beak and eyes in it.
revolt.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
So those eggs actually are not kosher. They would not be.
No, I wouldn't think so.
No, that's that.
They
that,
shouldn't be a food, to be honest.
No, that is revolt.
I like my embryos to not be fertilized, and then they're delicious.
No, no, thank you. No, thank you. All right. So that's it. That's the list of all the kosher animals, fish, birds, and insects,
Okay.
right? Now, the second condition, which we're doing third, very confusing,
Yeah.
is that the kosher animals have to be killed in a specific way, which is, according to tradition, the most humane way with the least amount of pain
Okay.
possible, which brings up some controversy with modern day slaughter methods.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
would be the most humane way to kill an animal?
I really don't know.
Like a bullet?
I don't have enough information or knowledge on this topic.
I think it's different. I think it's like, what's the most humane way,
Yeah.
but it's also the most cost effective. Because like
Yeah.
killing an animal with a knife is surely not as humane as like putting it to sleep.
I really don't know.
But you can't. That's not.
yeah.
That would cost too much.
Yeah. Look, especially at the times when like the laws of kosher were really codified and stuff, they were not eating meat and they weren't even eating fish every day of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like a special, particularly like a Sabbath thing. Like once a week, a special. If you could afford it, you'd get meat. If you couldn't afford that, maybe chicken. If you couldn't afford that, maybe fish.
Okay.
Nowadays, it's such a totally different experience. And that's why I guess like separating meat and milk, they could be so strict about it because it wasn't something they were dealing with as often as we are today when we have meat
Yeah.
almost every day.
They hadn't experienced the wonderment
No.
of a
I know.
cheeseburger.
Totally different world.
Yeah.
So it's sort of this process of trying to wrestle tradition and the religion with modern day.
Okay.
Okay.
That's kind of similar to like halal, surely,
I don't
in
know.
the killing
enough
of the
about
animal.
that. I don't know. Maybe.
That's a similar thing, I think. That's all about how you kill it.
Yeah. So also the process of slaughtering an animal, you also have to remove all the blood, or at least as much blood as possible, through a special process of salting it and everything.
Wow.
And then, so that's basically what makes something kosher. Has to be a kosher animal, has to be killed in the right way, and no mixing meat and milk.
That's kosher.
Yeah, so you can imagine that today's world with all these products that come through factories and these factories and the machinery, we don't know where the machinery has been used or what other things are going through the factory or even the ingredients. Because
Oh, I have no idea what's in anything that
no,
I eat.
and also I told you of a myth once.
Oh, is this the Smarties thing?
The Smarties thing, yeah. The chocolate Smarties, which is not kosher in Australia,
Yeah.
but I have eaten them because they're kosher in South Africa, actually.
They're like M&Ms for anyone who doesn't know what Smarties are.
The inferior version to M&Ms.
Yeah. They're a knockoff M&M.
And apparently, the myth goes that the colouring for the Smarties is made from crushed beetle wing.
Yeah, which I can't get around.
No, and no one believed me. And so I proved that beetle wings is actually used as colouring. I don't know if it's used specifically in Smarties, but it's definitely used as food colouring.
Yeah. But I've got a counter argument.
Okay.
Because it can't just be just the wings.
What do you mean?
For two reasons, right?
Yeah.
If it is just the beetle wings that do the colouring,
Yeah.
there has to be some kind of machine
Yeah.
that separates the beetle from the wing, or the wing from the beetle.
You just have a conveyor belt of psychopaths who like torturing
Yeah.
insects. Just
That's
pulling
my
off the
second
wings.
point. It's either got to be a machine, or someone has to have that job. Someone is a wing remover.
I don't know.
It's got to be the whole beetle.
I don't know.
If you're listening at home, please tell me what it is.
Write in. Explain it to us.
Yeah.
Either way, if there's a component of beetle wings, as an example, that would be something that is seemingly innocuous and nobody would know. No one would think that there's crushed up beetle wing in a chocolate, right?
Yeah.
So that same standard has to be applied across the board with all these processed foods, which is why we have kosher authorities. And those kosher authorities investigate all these different foods and give them a stamp of approval, and that makes something kosher.
Okay.
So like when you bring in food, or someone brings in food that they've made at home into work, and they say, why can't you have it? All the ingredients are kosher. That might well be. But I don't know.
I'm not kosher.
No. And their kitchen might not be kosher.
Yeah.
The utensils might not be kosher. And also some of the products you might think are kosher, but actually have ingredients that are not.
Yeah.
And it's very hard. That's why we have to have a kosher authority. And that's why it's difficult if you live in a place like Perth, Western Australia.
Yeah. Is there beef between the different kosher authorities?
Yeah, of course. No, of
Like
course.
some people consider one thing kosher, some people
Yeah,
don't.
and it gets politicized as well. So like, and I'm not casting aspersions on any specific authority, but you have like one authority that'd be like, well, we don't trust his level of kosher authority, so anything that he gives his authority to, we're going to say nah. We're not even
that's
going to look
just
at
petty,
it.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's,
Do you ever try to find, you're like, oh, I really want to eat that, but the WA council said it's not kosher, but the Victorian one did, so
well,
a little
look,
wiggle room.
if you know if you want to be authentic and you want to be genuine about trying to keep kosher,
Yeah.
you would look into the reasons between different authorities, right? And because, I mean, the rules of Judaism are very transparent. Anybody can read them and learn the rules,
Okay.
right? So it's not like anything's hidden. You just have to know what you're talking about and be genuine, not be like, oh, I'm just gonna bend the rules a little bit
Yeah.
here.
I bet there's lots of shady activity going on.
Could be.
A lot of under-the-counter money swapping hands here.
Yeah.
Like the people at Smarties, they might go along and be like, hey, we're really missing out on a Jewish market here.
Yeah.
How about you like to say it's kosher?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, that's a hard part because getting a kosher authority approval
Yeah.
is going to cost money, right? For the company.
Yeah.
And so there needs to be a big enough Jewish market for that to be worthwhile.
Jewish people they would love Smarties, I reckon. But I would say to the
M&Ms
people,
are kosher, so I don't know.
I would say to the people from Smarties,
Yeah.
how about instead of us just saying it's kosher, how about you just don't use beetle wings to colour your candy? How about that, Smarties?
And they're going to say, for economic reasons, no, we're going to continue doing it.
How else would you do it?
All right. So that's pretty much a summary, a very, very high-level summary of the kosher laws. I have a couple of really fascinating kosher facts for you.
Okay, is this like a test?
Not really a test. I mean, it could be a test. I can convert it into a test if you want.
Yeah, do it.
All right. I'll do that. And then, actually, you have an enJEWpreneur for me,
I
don't you?
do, an enJEWpreneur.
Fantastic. Okay. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to start off with a bit of a statement, all right?
Okay,
Giraffes are kosher. They're technically
They are
kosher
kosher.
animal. They are kosher.
delicious.
Why don't we eat giraffes then?
Oh, that's actually a good question.
Thank you.
Why don't you eat giraffes?
Yeah. Why don't we eat giraffes?
Because no one ever did?
Yeah, that's actually
not
not,
like a
too
tradition?
bad. Yeah, we don't have a tradition of eating giraffes.
Nailed it. I'm pretty excited
It
about
is
that.
pretty good. So a lot of people think that because it has such a long neck, we don't actually know how to slaughter it in a kosher way.
Oh, yeah. Imagine trying to slit that throat. You'd be there a
Yeah.
week.
But that's actually not the right reason why we don't eat it. We don't eat it just because there was no tradition of eating giraffe, so it's not really...
You
And
could be
also, there's not a lot of availability of giraffe.
You could be a trailblazer here.
I don't really want to.
Aaron's giraffe meat.
No, thank you.
Make
No,
millions.
Nope, don't want to.
Okay.
Not worth it.
No, you don't want to be a poacher.
So, also, interestingly, apparently, the turkey is the exact opposite. The turkey's a kosher animal, like a kosher bird,
Yeah.
but there was no tradition of eating it. And then I think with the whole evolution
Thanksgiving and
of
stuff?
American Jewry, I think it became widely accepted, and the rabbis accepted it as kosher.
That's good. Well, turkey's delicious.
Yeah, I don't think it ever was not kosher and then they made it kosher. I just think it was a kosher animal, but there was no tradition. So the opposite of the giraffe, where everyone knew about it, but no one had it. With turkeys, no one really knew about it, and that's why no one had it.
Okay. I wonder
Alright.
if people will ever start eating giraffe. Like, it could just take off.
Yeah.
As the world's oceans run out and we run out of cattle,
Yeah,
we'll turn to giraffes.
maybe.
You could feed a village with one of those necks.
Look, I doubt it.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on.
Naysaying on my dreams.
Okay, when it comes to beer,
Yep.
yeah, all unflavored, no additives added beer
Yep.
in Australia is kosher, okay?
Okay.
That's just my introduction. So all beer is okay unless it's had like special flavors added.
Cool.
In New Zealand, you have to be careful of what beer you drink. Why?
Oh, that's tricky, isn't it?
Mm.
What would it be? What would it be? In just specifically just in New Zealand.
Yeah.
What is there about New Zealand that would make it not kosher? The water?
Mm.
No.
Do you want a hint?
Yeah.
It's about separating milk and meat.
Or
I don't know if that's made it easier or harder.
could it be something about like the ground? Like the ground that the crops grow in?
So,
No, I'm lying. I've got no idea.
the answer is, and it's only half an answer because as I'm saying this, I realize I don't actually know the full answer.
Oh, well, great segment.
Beer, unless you know otherwise, in New Zealand is considered to be dairy.
Nope.
Yep.
Incorrect, New Zealand.
Nope, it is.
Well, no.
I don't know why. Something to do with the processing, with the production of it, makes it dairy. I don't know if it's the equipment or something. And unless you know otherwise, you have to consider all beer in New Zealand dairy.
Nah.
Yep.
No, I got beef with New
Yeah,
Zealand here.
no,
Why?
I don't know why. I just said to you, I should have checked it. If I had done my due diligence and research, I would know, but I don't.
What are they doing in their beer making process to make their beer dairy?
I don't know.
Because if you went to anyone, anywhere in the world, outside of New Zealand, obviously, and you said, hey, easy question, is beer dairy? No. 100% across the board, you get that answer.
Look, I'd agree with you. If you're listening to this and you know why, and I'm sure there are people who know why, because there are lots of people who are more beer enthusiasts than me, do write in, let us know, and we will read you out and glorify you on the podcast.
I'm going to just research this myself. Next week, I'm coming in with the answer.
I bet you
coming
will
in
forget.
hot.
I bet you will forget.
Okay, give
All
me
right,
that one.
last trivia fact. Can you, slash question, can you name for me the only animal product that is kosher, even though it's a product of a non-kosher animal?
Okay. Am I allowed to cheat here because we already did this last time and then
Oh, yeah.
you screwed up the episode?
I forgot that we'd already done it. That's really
I was
funny.
going to pretend and be like, I don't know what it is.
Okay, all right. So here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to let the listeners try and guess.
Okay.
Okay? So here, you have 5 seconds to think before I give you a hint, and then Cal's going to tell us the answer.
Okay. Boom, 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 boom.
The hint is black and yellow, black and yellow.
It's honey.
There we go.
Yeah.
And what's the non-kosher animal?
Bees.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm really irritated that I forgot that you already knew that answer.
I didn't forget.
God, it's such a good trivia question.
Are we going to get in trouble because I just did like the thinking music theme with my mouth?
What do you mean?
Do we have the rights to that? I don't even know.
Is that like
I think it was from
trademark
Jeopardy.
thinking music?
Yeah, I think I did the Jeopardy music.
I don't know.
That would be all right.
Yeah, it will be fine. No one. I mean, lots of people listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's kosher in a nutshell.
I'm glad you can eat honey because it's delicious.
It is. It is. It is. It is.
Honey on a crumpet, delish.
All right. Let's wrap up before we run out of time. What is your enJEWpreneur? Oh, actually, I do know this, I think.
I'm going to do the same one as I did last time, but it was good, so it can't be just relegated.
Oh, yeah. And also, in the meantime, since I deleted the audio for the previous recording and we've done this one, I've actually thought of something else to do with it. So introduce the enJEWpreneur idea.
It's about the kipper again.
Yep.
As you know, told you about this before.
Another novelty kipper?
It's a more practical one, I think.
Okay, cool.
So, you know, like those safety travel wallets you get that you wear under your shirt?
Yeah, fanny pack.
Yeah, what if you had the same thing, but it was just your kipper? Like a travel kipper with a little zip in it.
Okay, so this was the same question I have. How big and thick does your kipper have to be able to, like...
No, it's like a standard size kipper. You're only putting like emergency cash in there.
Or a key.
Maybe a key or maybe a credit card, something like that.
Okay, all right. Okay, so here's my other thing for you. If that was a good idea, wouldn't we already see it in like baseball caps and beanies and stuff?
It might exist. I don't know. Who knows? I didn't research this. It's just an idea.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it's a pretty good one.
It's not a bad one. I have a big issue with it.
Okay.
My big red flag with it is that out of all the objects I own, my kippers are the ones I lose the most.
Yep. Which is why this kipper has a tracking device.
Does it now? Oh, okay.
Yeah. You thought that I didn't think of that, but I did.
Right.
It's like a Find My Phone thing, but it's Find My Kipper.
Interesting.
Yep.
Do you sell a combined kipper which incorporates the solar power idea that you had a couple of weeks ago?
Now you're
with
thinking.
This one.
Yeah. Like the phone charging solar powered battery charger that's a kipper.
Yeah.
Combined with the safety wallet kipper.
Okay.
That might get a bit bulky, that one, I think.
What about for Orthodox women who don't wear a kipper?
Who cares?
Oh, God.
I'm not saying who cares about Orthodox women.
Oh, okay.
This just isn't the product for them. They can use their like bras and stuff like I'm assuming lots of women do.
All right.
Was that a silly thing for me to say?
What? Well, it was...
To assume that women just use their bras as like wallets?
I don't know. Is it?
I think a lot of people do that.
Okay.
If you're a woman, sorry. If I was correct, not sorry.
That tends to be the trend.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. It's one of your better ones. I'll admit it.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if it's not already a thing.
I'm just not sure that thinking about my head and my head shape, I'm just not sure if I stuck anything other than like 1 or 2 cash notes.
Or you'd need.
It would be irritating to me.
Credit card. Here's an idea.
Oh, yeah.
Why couldn't your kipper just be your credit card?
And then when you like tap and go, you just lean your head.
Yep.
No one could see you do what you just did, but Cal just simulated dipping his head
You just
to
bow
a
down.
cashier's counter.
Yeah. Boom. Done. Payment received. Or you just lift up the thing and put it on your head. Like the FBOS machine.
What would look weirder?
Oh, they're both pretty weird, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I don't really want to be seen doing either.
Yeah, well, look, that's the price you pay for safety sometimes, I think. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I like it. I like the thought process behind it, and I like how you're turning a kippa into a very practical item.
Or what about like you know how people have those like health like bracelets?
Yeah.
What if that sort of information was stored electronically on your kippa?
I like that. Again, you have the issue of losing kippa, which happens easily.
Yeah. Okay, but
I
that's a
don't
minor
mind it.
issue.
I don't mind. It's not bad.
All right, 4 out of 5.
All right. Well, that's it from our Kosher episode
2.0.
2.0.
Kosher 2.0.
Yeah.
We made it.
I know, we did. And also, if I may say so, it was a really good episode.
They were both good episodes.
They were both good, but like the one that I deleted would definitely have, just skyrocketed us above Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, it was the greatest episode of any podcast that's ever been recorded, and no one will ever hear it.
And this is just a tribute to the greatest podcast that's ever been recorded.
Yep.
And I'm not going to sing the song.
No. Do you think maybe we should just release my half of the audio?
And then you can just go,
It's just my responses.
"Hi, it's Cal from I'm Talking to Jew."
Yeah, and then a long pause. Yeah. And then, haha, Aaron, that's a really good story. A great story, Aaron.
You sounded like the guy from The Room.
Yeah, I was doing The Room.
Oh, is
thing.
that what
Yeah.
you were doing? Oh, good. All right, so it was good enough for me to like make the connection, but not good enough for me to realize that's what you were doing.
Well, you got it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good impression.
Ah,
I don't know.
it's not bad. Anyway, before we continue talking about just random stuff, if you're liking the podcast, please share it. A lot of people ask us how we want you to share it, what we mean by sharing it. Anything.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah, you can just say it to your friend,
Whisper it in a friend's ear.
whisper in a friend's ear, send it in like a group chat, or you can share it on Facebook and Twitter at Talking Jew to both of those. Spread the word.
Yeah.
Share the iTunes link. Make sure you are subscribed as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, also, I think you need to be subscribed
Yeah.
on the latest update of the podcast app because
Okay.
iTunes is doing their new stats now. We're
Ah.
finally going to be able to know who's
I
listening.
see. Yeah. Okay,
And
cool.
I think it only counts from the latest update.
Yeah, so if you have like an iPhone or you have an Android, just make sure you have the latest version of the podcast app or the Stitcher app.
Yep.
And also if you're on Facebook, make sure you have your notifications turned on that you've liked us, because Facebook is also messing up our reach and
Yeah, they're ruining
posts
our
that we
life.
make. Nobody sees it, but
That's fine.
yeah, it's all good.
Do that.
You know where to find us.
Watch The Room.
Oh, dude, do
It's
watch
great.
The
Then watch The Disaster Artist. And then tell your friends that this podcast is better than both of those. That'd be great.
At least it's better than one of those films, and I'm not going to say which one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it from me. We'll see you next week for episode 13.
Lucky 13. Maybe that one won't get deleted by someone. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how you behave.
Alrighty. Adios.